Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to be completely flipping the script on something you've likely been taught your entire life. We're talking about visualization, but we're going to look at it through a lens that requires a really radical paradigm shift in how we understand and practice it. If you've ever felt just utterly exhausted trying to manifest a certain kind of life, or if you feel like you're constantly pushing a heavy boulder up a hill with your thoughts, well, get ready. We're moving completely away from the idea of active, forceful imagination, and we're stepping into a profound new reality, vision as reception, and the absolute art of stillness. Here's a wild thought for you. A staggering 99% of people completely misunderstand the concept of visualization. Seriously, almost all of us. We've been conditioned to treat it as this exhausting daily chore. We're told to wake up every single morning, maybe put on a specific frequency track, close our eyes, and just concentrate as hard as humanly possible to manufacture these mental images of the life we want. We treat it like this grueling broadcast we have to send out to the universe day after day, kind of hoping that if we just push hard enough, reality will eventually catch up. Okay, let's dive into this because this brings up a truly fascinating mystery. Have you ever wondered why someone can spend 2 whole decades visualizing abundance and never actually become abundant, while someone else gets hit with one single crystal clear vision that completely changes the trajectory of their entire life? Well, the answer lies in resistance. When you sit down every single morning and try to force a vision, you're actually signaling to your body that your desire is missing. You're literally manufacturing internal resistance. You're trying to negotiate with reality instead of aligning with it. To really understand why that doesn't work, we need to contrast two entirely different paradigms. The old way is all about broadcasting, forcing, and projecting. It's essentially an act of mental fabrication where you're trying to invent a future that doesn't exist yet. But the new way? It is entirely about receiving, allowing, and perceiving. I mean, think about it. What if visualization isn't an act of imagination at all? What if it's an act of revelation? Under this new paradigm, your only job is not to shout your desires into the void, but to become quiet enough to actually listen. You stop chasing your future, and you just let your future find you. Now, what's really interesting here is how this shift is perfectly captured by a powerful quote from the mystic Neville Goddard. Creation is already finished. When you first hear that, it might sound a little abstract, but it's actually deeply unsettling to our traditional way of thinking. It means that the life you're trying so desperately to build might not actually need to be built at all. Every possibility you could ever think of, every successful business, every loving relationship, every highest version of yourself already exists right now as a potential reality in the field of consciousness. And that brings us to this incredibly beautiful realization. You're no longer trying to invent your future out of thin air. You're simply remembering a future that already exists just beyond your current perception. You don't need to force an image onto reality. You just need to become still enough so that reality can reveal something to you that your anxious, overthinking mind currently can't perceive. The future isn't waiting for you to manufacture it with vision boards. It's literally just waiting for you to become capable of receiving it. So the crucial point is understanding the biological blocker that prevents this reception: survival mode. There is an incredibly strong, undeniable connection between nervous system regulation and clear vision. When your nervous system is stuck in survival mode, which, let's face it, is the normalized state of stress for most people today, it fundamentally changes the function of your nervous system from reception to protection. It literally compresses your consciousness. Your worldview narrows down so intensely that you're only focused on getting through the next hour, or maybe the next day. All your psychological energy is consumed by maintaining defensive habits. And in this state, your body is just too consumed with perceived threats to perceive deeper possibilities. A dysregulated nervous system simply cannot receive a vision. If we want to understand why we can't see our future clearly, we really have to look at what's causing all this interference. The major causes of this internal static include unresolved grief, limiting beliefs, chronic tension, shame, and fear. And these aren't just things making you suffer emotionally, right? They are creating literal, physical noise within your nervous system. Every unresolved wound is competing for your attention. Every limiting belief is filtering your perception. They act as these thick layers of static between you and the future that is already trying to work its way through you. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what that internal static feels like. Imagine you're trying to tune an old radio to a specific station so you can hear some music, but someone is standing right next to you running a leaf blower at full volume. The music is still coming out of the receiver, right? The station hasn't stopped broadcasting, but you simply cannot hear it because the noise of the leaf blower is just totally drowning out the signal. That is exactly what trauma,
fear, and limiting beliefs due to your nervous system. The vision is there, but your internal noise is just way too loud.
We can compare this to a really brilliant metaphor of a lake. On one side, imagine a super agitated, choppy lake. The waters are thrashing around with fear, shame, and scarcity. When a lake is like this, you obviously can't see your reflection, and you certainly can't see the depth. But on the other side, look at the still lake. This perfectly represents a regulated nervous system. When the waters finally calm down and become still, reality suddenly becomes clear. You can see the reflection perfectly. You can look straight down into the depths. We absolutely have to still the waters inside of ourselves if we ever want to be able to see reality clearly.
This completely changes how we should look at personal development. It's not just about becoming a high performer or hacking your productivity. The deepest purpose of personal growth is actually deep healing, because healing literally frees up internal bandwidth. It creates psychological spaciousness. As you process that grief and dissolve those limiting beliefs, you're unbinding energy that has literally been trapped inside your nervous system for years.
And once that energy is unbound, a massive, life-altering shift occurs. When your body no longer believes it's fighting for survival every single moment of the day, that energy stops being used for protection, maintaining defensive habits and holding on to old identities. Instead, that exact same energy instantly becomes available for possibility. It fuels your creativity, your intuition, and most importantly, your vision. Clear vision is quite literally a biological byproduct of a nervous system that finally feels safe enough to stop defending itself.
But here's the modern trap we all fall into, and it's a big one. There is almost no unoccupied space left in the average human nervous system today. We have become extraordinarily good at consuming information, but we are remarkably poor at receiving wisdom. Think about it. In every free moment, we reach for our phones. While standing in line, we listen to podcasts while driving, we scroll social media while we eat. We are constantly interrupting the natural signal of wisdom before it can fully arrive. We have to intentionally create unoccupied space where the deepest intelligence of our lives can actually speak to us.
Let's move to and see how this all builds into a beautifully simplified, truly actionable path forward. Step 1, you have to dissolve the limiting beliefs and unresolved emotions that are acting as static. Step 2, focus intensely on regulating your nervous system so your body actually knows it's safe. And step 3, simply receive the vision naturally. Remember, you don't become a visionary by trying really hard to visualize. You become a visionary by building a nervous system that is still enough to hear the vision that's already trying to reach you.
Now, a quick point of clarification here, because this doesn't mean you just sit around on the couch doing nothing. Disciplined action, courage, and building are absolutely vital, but execution must always follow the received vision. The clarity has to come first, because action without revelation creates a ladder leaning against the wrong wall. You do not want to spend 20 years grinding and climbing, only to realize you arrived at a destination you never truly wanted. Let the vision organize and sanctify your work first.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, really provocative thought. What if your deepest desires aren't just fantasies invented by your ego? What if they're actually invitations? What if the future you are praying for is already reaching towards you, introducing itself long before your current identity even believes it's possible? Stop trying to force the vision. Start doing the internal healing required to become a clear vessel. Quiet the static, still the waters of your nervous system, and just allow the future to finally find you.